essays, I looked at my activities and I compared them to like other successful applications, and I could clearly see like a
Because
pattern.
my first SAT I got a 1320. So like, and here I'd practiced for like some time into SAT. I think my minimum was like 1550 or like 1540 in the practice test. And like in the practice test, like 2 times I got like 1600. And so like, and then you go to the actual test, you get like 1480. It's like sometimes you're like, oh, what is this?
Went to a full scholarship, not paying anything.
So how do you become a Tanzania 1, for example? Like what did it take?
Thank you so much for this invitation. My name is Isaiah Charles, and I'm a junior here at Harvard College. I'm originally from Tanzania, and I currently study computer science and economics.
Hi, my name is Anna Malima. I'm a first year at Yale University or Yale College. I'm a prospective neuroscience major. I'm from Boston or the Boston area. I'm from
My name is David Michael. I'm from Tanzania in East Africa, a region called Dar es Salaam. This is my first time in the States. I'm studying in Yale University.
Hi, my name is Lydia Mhando. I am 19 years old. I am an undergraduate student here at Columbia. I'm studying human rights, and I'm from Morogoro, Tanzania.
My name is Nicodemus Bernard Masanyo. I'm from Tanzania, and I haven't started yet college. I'll start my official like college education journey next year, 2026. And so I'll be in the Princeton class of 2030.
Paul Cosmas Lozige. I'm from Tanzania. Like I was born in Mbeya and I grew up in Mbeya. Then I went to high school in Dar es Salaam. And now I'm at New York University, the Abu Dhabi campus, doing a double major in mathematics and computer science. And I'm trying to minor in finance.
My name is Gift Christian. I'm currently at Dartmouth. I'm a freshman at Dartmouth. We don't choose our majors until our second year.
Okay.
So right now it's just more of exploring classes, but I kind of already decided what I'm trying to go into. So I've been taking some computer science classes because I want to try out computer science.
First and foremost is your academics, because for them to take you seriously, you need to have excelled academically. So if there's one thing you need to make sure is strong is your academics. So throughout your academic career, mostly grade 9 throughout grade 10, throughout grade 12. So if we're talking in Tanzanian terms, from Form 3,
Okay.
you just need to make sure, if you're doing the local curriculum, you just need to make sure that you're pushing yourself to perform very well. And then once your academics are sorted, I think if you look at the pools of applicants that are applying to most of these top schools, like probably over 80% have great grades. If it's A's, they all have straight. And so I think the next part is how you distinguish yourself among that large pool. So what I would say is trying to utilize the opportunities that arise beyond just academics. And you might find that some schools don't, especially in Tanzania, like we don't have so many opportunities to do stuff beyond the school curriculum. And you might find some schools strictly have you focus on what you're doing at school because they just want you to pass the national exams.
Yep.
But then this is the part that you need to distinguish yourself. If your school really doesn't offer much, you have the holidays, you have it's like you need to take initiative to do things beyond just the classroom.
The
Like,
extracurricular activities.
exactly. Start your own initiatives, do things that you like and make sure you excel in them. And one thing you should always think about is what kind of impact is whatever extracurricular that you're trying to do has in your community, of course. So so academics and excelling beyond the classroom.
I think first of all, putting like your grades first, or not first, but like making sure that they're at a decent like level, because that's kind of like the baseline that like colleges use to like narrow down like who they want to pick.
I just believe like mentality is like the most important thing, because like if you really want something, then you will make an effort no matter like what environment you're put to. And if a chance arises, you will be able to take it.
Because until the moment I'm submitting my Princeton application, I think I had done everything I could. Like I had done the best as I could, like to make sure my application is as perfect as I could make it be. So I didn't know what else to change. Like I was asking myself, if Princeton doesn't work, I'll have a really hard time knowing what to improve, because that's the best. That's the best I could do. Like I literally gave my soul doing that. Like everything. I think the personal statement is one of the most difficult essays.
It is.
Like if you really want to have a very good or strong personal statement, it will take much time, much efforts, and that is, I don't know, people don't talk about it much as they talk about test scores.
Generally, the personal statement is extremely important because again, like it helps like in this like the same realm as like extracurriculars is like it helps like the schools like immediately get a sense of like who you are and like what your values are as well. And a personal statement can kind of make or break in the sense that like it shows a lot about someone's personality. And so like for a lot of schools, it's like it like allows them to see deeper into like who someone is and like if their traits are something that could like fit into the school, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like because I know that Yale, it values like leadership and stuff like that a lot, like that trait. So it's like if they like in the personal statement, like that's somewhere where you can like show that kind of thing. And then also in the supplements as well, because those are more school specific, so you're able to like really go into detail about like why you want to go to a school and like what other things that you value, which I also think is really, really important. Generally, the personal statement is extremely important because again, like it helps like in this like the same realm as like extracurriculars is like it helps like the schools like immediately get a sense of like who you are and like what your values are as well. And a personal statement can kind of make or break in the sense that like it shows a lot about someone's personality. And so like for a lot of schools, it's like it like allows them to see deeper into like who someone is and like if their traits are something that could like fit into the school, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like because I know that Yale, it values like leadership and stuff like that a lot, like that trait. So it's like if they like in the personal statement, like that's somewhere where you can like show that kind of thing. And then also in the supplements as well, because those are more school specific, so you're able to like really go into detail about like why you want to go to a school and like what other things that you value, which I
Other
also
than the tests, I would say essays, especially when you're faced with a school that has like long and a lot of essays. Columbia doesn't have many essays, it's just 5 like short essays. But other schools will ask you to write up to like 500 words.
A book.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
it's
I know. MIT is one of those, and I usually
yes.
encourage people to apply to MIT. And most of the students, they told me, "Nah, I don't have that time."
MIT, Princeton also has very lengthy supplemental essays, and so it's not even like your main essay. So I would say make sure you sharpen your writing skills, and seek advice. Like sometimes when you're writing an essay, you might feel like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever written. And then someone might think like, what even is that? And so I think TESOL was very important because we had a cohort of students who are all working towards the same goal. We were all working towards our applications. And so we would construct our essays and have our friends like read our essays and just like give us feedback, and just hearing from someone else how they look at the essay and what they understand from it just really helps you to find weaknesses and to help you further strengthen your essay. I think a skill or like a perspective you wouldn't have had without like reaching out to other people.
When I was applying my first time, I thought these essays about accomplishments, about writing your successes in different projects, writing I don't know, like writing big things, big accomplishment. Then when I read essays of people who got accepted into top schools, who got accepted into MIT, who got accepted into Harvard, I could see they didn't even write about accomplishment. They didn't even write about successes in projects. I don't know. They wrote their personal stories of their personal, like in their personal lives, and that really changed my perspective. I realized, okay, maybe I was focusing on the wrong thing.
I'll admit it was tough, but again, I think one thing that really helped me is just realizing early in your career that the kind of life that you lived earlier in your career, let's say if you're an involved person, you just didn't excel in school, but you also excelled beyond school. You're gonna have so many stories, you're gonna have so many things to talk about yourself. So it's while you might face a challenge in structuring that into a personal statement, but you already have the content. So
Yeah.
one problem is already solved. So
Yes.
you just need to figure out how am I putting this into clear writing. So I'll just cycle back to my point earlier that if you have the two things from earlier in your career, it's gonna be easier when it comes to expressing yourself. But in terms of writing it, I would say that's also where mentors come in, and they can play a very big role, especially trying to expose you to how other people have done it in the past. But so I would say if I'm to give advice is talk to people, talk to mentors, talk to people who have done it before. But if I am to share on how you would write a strong let's say personal statement or statement of, I'm not sure about the statement of purpose because I never applied to the UK. But I think it just has to be, you just need to imagine that the person that's reading it doesn't know you, doesn't know your country, doesn't know anything about your school. It has to be very comprehensive but very simple in terms of if any person, they just randomly read it, they can really learn about you and your life and like hold a press conference and advocate about you without even knowing who you are. One very important trick that you can use to make sure that you don't waste words is every single sentence or every single thing that you talk about, you can play this game called the why game. Whatever you write, ask yourself, why did I write it? Why? Until you cannot answer the whys anymore. That's how you tell you have a complete personal statement.
Perfect.
In terms of like actual things that you can like do in high school, extracurriculars are very important, I would say. And they make you stand out as an applicant, especially if you engage in extracurriculars that you're actually interested in.
Yep.
Because for me, I did quite a bit of extracurriculars. I did like in school and then out of school extracurriculars, but my extracurriculars made sense because they were all things that I enjoyed to do. And so a lot of them kind of related to each other. I did like internships. So like I interned in a hospital and then I interned in at like a research lab. So those were like science related ones. And then I also did like a science education program in like sophomore year. So that was also like related to like the science like part of my extracurriculars. But then I also did like things like inclusivity panel, and I was like in a fellowship for like racial justice, and like that kind of thing was like geared to like the side of me that wasn't like very like academically focused. And so I think that engaging in extracurriculars like that, like different ones, but ones that you still enjoy, it kind of shows colleges like from the get-go that you're like multi-dimensional and that you're not just like, oh, like I'm just interested in this, or like let me just pursue things in like this field.
Extracurriculars like trying to compare everything that's needed based on my research and what the college council is saying. Some science competition, so trying to make myself a all-rounded student rather than being just good at grades.
Yes.
That's what I was doing. Like I did a lot of clubs, activities. I was in the music club. I joined the soccer team. I joined the science competitions. Like
Because my first SAT I got a 1320. So like, you know, and here I had practiced for like some time. I had practiced because the time that I started training for SATs, I didn't know grammar well. Yes, Tanzanian schools teach in English, but in my O level going backwards, like the English that you learn for chemistry is not like, you know, yeah, it's not the same, and all the technicalities and all that. I wasn't also like, I didn't have a habit of reading a lot. So I was pretty tired 20 minutes into the exam. I was already like really like drained, or yeah, or I would read a text thrice. You know, like I read it to the middle and now I have to read it again. And the first SAT that I did was still paper-based. Now, right now it's digital. So the paper-based was like, for me, it was brutal. For me, I got like 1510, but it was a super score. It's like 1500 for an individual score. SAT that you take might also determine the score that you do. Like, let's say taking the August and getting a certain score doesn't mean like that's like your highest. You could take the October one and get a higher score. It's like, even after you've practiced so hard, like not to be demotivated by one score. Like sometimes it does happen that that exam was not for you, you know, like you kind of like just have to have hope. Because honestly, like if I would talk about like my practice tests, so like with my practice tests, I don't think, like starting like last year, I don't think there's any, like out of those first 4 that they released, or first 6, and later they released 7, 8, something like that, until 10. Out of like the ones that I did last year, for the digital SAT, I think my minimum was like 1550 or like 1540 in the practice test. And like in the practice test, like 2 times I got like 1600, and you know, so like, and then you go to the actual test, you get like 1480. It's like you know, sometimes you're like, oh, what is this, you know, like it's not really motivating. But then there are also some of my friends who didn't get a good score in like their practice test, and then they go to the actual test and they get like a really good score. It's like, I would just say, like, do not be demotivated by one SAT, because maybe it was just that one time. Like you kind of like have to do
So
it.
because Colombia is test optional, I do not even send test scores. And yeah, I encourage students to kind of do that for schools that are test optional, because they are test optional for a reason. And you know, most of the time we tend to, like, because we're trying so much to perfect every element of our application, we're always like, well, yeah, a score is test optional, but you should still send it if you get a good score. But if you're not very successful in the standardized test and the score is test optional and every other part of your application is strong, I would say go for it. I went for it through regular, which is very risky, but God was on my side and it worked out. So for me, I don't have anything to say about standardized tests, but I would say for the English test, yeah, I would say really, if you don't have the standardized test, I would say try your best to kind of make up for it in the other test. And so that's what I did.
So you took your SATs. How because what we are seeing right now, they're kind of like coming back post-COVID.
Yeah.
They're saying it's optional, but you know, for some of the high schoolers, we tell them that they say it's optional, but it improves your chances if you put them in. What was your scores like, and what was your rationale behind not putting your SATs in the application?
I think 1410. I think it was enough to get into NYU. So like, because I didn't take a gap year. Like, it's very common to take a gap year in Tanzania. So I applied straight from high school, and the stress of being like a senior in high school, and then you have to focus on your finals, you have to focus on college applications, and juggling with SATs too, where
it was too much.
I think I didn't put enough effort into SATs as I did for other stuff. That's why I got the 1410, and then I decided to go test option instead.
In my first gap year, I had submitted my college application with an ACT score of 1470. Then in my second gap year, like after intense preparations, I had a 1520. So you can see, like, my preparations like paid off. after being done with those 4 things, SAT, TOEFLs, main essay, and extracurricular activities, I had now chance to like focus on what schools I wanted to apply so they can start writing their supplemental essays.
Yeah.
So it was all a matter of starting early. I think that's the only thing that helped me. Like, okay, starting early, but then reaching out to people to help you, like a lot of people to help you. And I think that's one of the main things that I didn't do in my first gap year because I had no experience with this college application. I was just from high school, and then I started applying to colleges. I had no that prior experience. Like, what do I need to have a strong application? What do I need to have stronger results, test scores? So that's what helped me.
I got a 1490, and the super score was like 1510.
Okay.
So that was like around the Dartmouth range. I got a 1490.
Definitely, like, just prepare for your tests, because like SATs and ACTs, like make sure you prepare and make sure that they're like decent. But if they're not like 15, 16, 15, 70, don't let that deter you from applying to these schools, because it's not the end all be all.
Majority of people, they look at the tuition fees these days, they're very expensive, and they're like, oh, I can't afford that. My parents can't afford that. What advice will you give somebody who is in that state of mind?
Apply to as many as possible, like scholarships. Yeah, apply to as many as possible. Because like for me, I remember when I was first starting like the college application process, like in early August or late August, to be honest. Don't do that, but that was me. I started looking into scholarships earlier, like in like October, which a lot of people do even earlier than that. But like my school like had like a wall of like scholarships that we could apply to and like their deadlines and stuff. And a lot of them, like, it depends. Like you can apply to a lot of scholarships. Like it'll be like one where it's like, oh, like Black women in STEM scholarship, and another one it'll be like oh, like people in STEM, or like oh, like people in the arts, and like oh, like you will find a scholarship that like is specific to like a group that you belong to, which I think that helps like give a leg up in like terms of like financial support. Yeah, but I would say apply to as many as possible and like diversify that kind of thing, because if you don't get into one, you could get into the other.
In your situation, were you able to secure a scholarship for your college? And then
I got a full scholarship. I'm not paying anything.
One thing that was unique about Harvard is I think most of their focus was whatever field that you want to excel in, their focus was more of they train you to not only, let's say if it's engineering, not only to be an engineer, but a leader in that field. So I think that really attracted that really attracted my attention to the school, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for me. Although, yes, just seeing that you would be like, oh yeah, this is really great and I want to be here. It's I knew it would be very competitive, but I thought given my the profile of what I have done before, I thought it would be worth it.
What inspired me to study at Columbia was obviously the major, right? So initially I wanted to actually go study in the UK. But when I came to Tanzania, so I went to Tanzania, I was like, I know it's a very North American targeted program, but I really want to go to the UK guys, blah, 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 blah. But you know, all of that changed when my counselor was like, I think Columbia is a good fit for you. And I don't think I liked it initially. And looking back, I'm like, why did I not like it? But anyways, when I did more research into Columbia and what it has to offer, I fell in love with Columbia. And as someone who wanted to study law in the UK, I knew that obviously you cannot do that as an undergraduate in the US. And so I was happy that Columbia kind of offers something related to that. So I'm studying human rights, and human rights you will not find as an undergraduate major in a lot of like colleges. You would find like history, policy, international relations. All like those are all like majors that I was like, okay, that's cool, but I don't think I would really want to start with that as my basis. So I was really drawn to Columbia with that, and they have a whole institute for the study of human rights, which is great.
Nice.
But also Columbia has a core curriculum which is basically a set of requirements that we all have to fulfill here. So you are kind of required to take classes like in your first year, second year, whatever. So just having a common learning ground with other students, like, regardless of whether you're a physics major, regardless of whether you're a stats major, you're all going to sit down like twice a week to discuss the same books, and the same books that people have read over 100 years. Columbia is very historical. It's an old college. So I think for me, it was mainly Columbia's core curriculum, human rights major, and of course it's in New York, so there's a lot of opportunities for that. You can study and work part-time.
Yep.
I didn't apply to Princeton in my first gap year. And secondly, based on the like, if you look at the success rate of the program which I was in, we students from Nectar schools. I hope you know Nectar schools, right?
I know very well.
Yeah. Like, if you look at the colleges which have had a higher acceptance rate to students from Nectar schools at our program, Princeton was among the schools.
I chose Dartmouth was its location, and like, apart from all like the other stuff, it's an Ivy, it's a big school, like it has great funding to get here and everything. From all that, I feel like it's the location.
What about Hanover? That is special.
Yeah. I'm getting there. So like, I like used to. I grew up in this environment, for instance, where I stay. It's like Kigamboni. Like, if you go out of the house, like the house we stay in, it's like full of trees, like branches. It's like you're in a city, but like it feels like rural. Like, if you want to lock in or something, like you want to study, like it gives you that
peace.
Like that secluded space that you can like focus. Since we're all in the woods, like the whole school is in the woods, like people have like nowhere else to go. So like the most, like, this creates something like, when you're all at home and like you're all surrounded by trees, like like you all start you build this connection, like, to know one another. So like this is actually one of the things that most is known for. It's like the community, like,
it's
even
tight.
It's very nice. And also even the alumni connection thing, like people bond a lot, because like it's, again, I believe, at least for me, it's the location. Like,
so the first thing is starting early, and I think, and this is where the problem comes, I think, because right after I finished high school, like until the moment where I finished high school, I had no any experience, or I had no any exposure like regarding college application process. So during my first year, I had very little time to prepare myself, like, and I think that's one of the reasons why I wasn't successful. Like, I had very little time. Like, imagine from not knowing anything about college application and then to applying to top school, like within a very short time. You have a lot of things to do within a very short time. That is very difficult, very overwhelming.
Absolutely.
So the most important thing I would say is starting early, like knowing the process, the process and its realistic 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 changes very early. If you know that, then you have that mindset of what you're going to meet ahead. You'll have that mindset of what you think you need to do to really approach this entire application process. So starting early is the main thing that I would really advise anyone who is really interested in applying to colleges. He or she should make sure you have to start early. That's the point. That's the main point.
In terms of like the actual like parts of the college application, like the writing and the research about the schools and all of that, and the SAT, I would recommend beginning of junior year. I did not start beginning of junior year. I certainly did not. But that's also, I think, part of the reason why my senior year was so stressful for me. Because I didn't start early, so like I kind of was doing everything last minute. So I think that in order to have peace of mind, you should probably start thinking about what you might want to write your personal statement about in junior year. and then like have like a draft by like the summer before senior year.
Got it.
I think that is the best way to ensure that you're ready for like if you want to like apply early or if you want to do any of that stuff. That's definitely something that you should consider. And then even with the SAT, I think starting mid junior year, or I mean, I know that a lot of people start like early junior year. I don't know if that's really necessary. I can't lie. I think that mid to late junior year is a good, or mid junior year, like April, around that time, so that you get your score back and you know if you need to retake it in June or if you need to retake it in August, and you like have that time before applications. Like you have like at least like 3 more testing cycles before like early applications, for
To
example.
build a strong foundations, like what you now, if you start early enough, like when you start in your middle school years or in early area high school years, that would be better, like because you have more time to maybe prepare for SATs, or you have more time to engage yourself in extracurriculars or debating or science competitions or like a lot of stuff. So if you have a strong foundation from the start, like if you know what you want and how to get it, that's gonna help you a lot. And another thing is timing. Timing is very important when it comes to college applications. Like I think it's the most important one. If you just mess up your timeline, there's a very high chance you'll not be able to hand in a strong enough foundation, because I know maybe a lot of my friends and fellows in high school, they have very strong CVs, like they had better grades than me, or they did more extracurricular than me, but they didn't get universities as I did, just because they didn't present their case properly. Or they tried to do the application like 2 days before or 3 days before. But if you have a strong foundation and you have a clear, defined timeline, and you ask for feedback, I was mentored with one of the professors in University of California, San Diego. Like my sister knew her, so she helped me. Like she gave me feedback along the way. Like, oh, you see this activity, how you phrase it here. You didn't focus on your strength or weaknesses. You phrase it. So like when you start early enough, you have enough time to ask people for feedback, and you can still you can find ways to make your application stand out as much as possible.
I applied under regular decision. So if anybody knows how regular decision works, you apply to as many colleges as you can. And so I don't remember the number, but I'm sure that it was more than 5. Yeah, and obviously Columbia was one of them.
I only applied during the restrictive early action at Princeton, and like I had no reason to apply to other school after getting my acceptance.
In the year that I applied to Yale, I only applied to Yale because I applied restrictive early action. But a year before I had considered going to South Africa, so I kind of like also tried South African universities. I tried also applying to African Leadership University, but like later I just realized like, oh, I want to apply to the US.
I would say stay organized. If you're approaching regular decision, you know that there are many schools you're applying to. There's so many deadlines. I would say be organized, keep track of the deadlines of the application deadline, of the essays, of the extra materials that are due. I would say try your best to obviously get good scores in English proficiency tests, in the SAT or ACT, whichever standardized tests you choose to do. So I would say take care of yourself, make sure you're healthy and fit, stay organized, and make sure you're performing your very best in the test, because especially as an international student, they do matter.
And another thing is to ask questions.
Absolutely.
Which is what I did a lot. Like I used to annoy my friends were already in college, like, how did you do this? How did you do this? Can you see my personal statement and stuff? What should I add? Why? And then like, so asking questions is very important, because having knowledge is like different from presenting knowledge. That's what I mean. You can have so much knowledge in your head, but if your presentation skills are not as good as it's supposed to be, you might end up having something which is mediocre or even bad. And another thing is using every opportunity that you have. For example, platform that you have, which is very important. I didn't have something like this when I was in high school. I wish if I had like more like a higher access to these opportunities, like to get mentored by people who actually want to help you, not just someone who you find on the internet and then you ask, can you help me with my college application? Okay, they will say yeah, but most of them maybe they are busy with
Yes.
something that they like doing. So if you find someone, if you get an opportunity of someone who's trying to help you, like actively trying to help you, is to utilize that opportunity very, 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 very wisely. And another thing which kept me going is not comparing myself to others.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that goes without saying, but it's very important. Like when you see someone's journey and they'll be like, oh, they went to MIT or they went to Harvard and stuff, and they were just doing this, they're just playing soccer. And then you try your best for your story to feel like them, and then you are losing the sense of self, you're trying to be them. So don't compare yourself to others, just focus on your story, your activities, and what makes you you. And then I think that will help you that will help you to have a very good application, have a very strong application, good enough to to secure a scholarship at a good university.
So where did you get your counselor from? Is it from your high school or from a program that you applied to?
Yeah, no, I didn't get my counselor from my high school. So after finishing high school, I applied to this college access program for low-income students in Tanzania. It's called TANSAF.
Okay,
So
heard of it.
I applied like by filling like the application first, and then I underwent a series of interviews. Like we first had like after the first screening where they read our applications, they selected a few candidates. We did this like written exam. Then we had an oral interview with our director. So we did like a series of interviews, and also we also did like a group activity interview, like where they were assessing how you interact with people. Yeah. So basically, we had a series of interviews with which only like a handful of people become successful. Like they pass through all those stages, and then they become like a member of the court in a particular year. Yeah. So I applied to that, and thankfully, like I was among those candidates who became successful throughout the interview stages.
Like I also think like staying informed, and you can only do this like if you ask questions. If like you meet, like if you get a chance to meet someone who you believe like you kind of look up to them, then you just want to always try and ask the most important questions that will like help you. I don't think I'll get into like Ivy Leagues or like any top schools, because like they take people like perfect SATs or like, you know, 1500s plus, or you know, things that are not achievable, you know. And I would say it's not like they are very achievable, but only like after you do a lot of work, they're very, very achievable. But it's just that like just, you know, it seems so far away, like when you look at yourself and you look at these places that you want to be, you're like, no way, I'm not that person, you know, I'm meant for like maybe simple things. But then with like Tansaf, you know, like you kind of get this network of people who have come here too, like people who have gone to like amazing institutions, and then when like they get to like, you get to like sit with them or like just talk to them, chat over the phone, you now realize like, oh, they're human beings, they're not like aliens, you know. And that's when like you start like, you know, or maybe somebody tells you, oh, my first SAT score in my practice test was this SAT, you know, it was this score. Okay, you know, you don't believe it, but now the most important thing is like, how did you manage them? And then they give you like these tips that you start working on them, and in a period of like 1 month, 2 months, you're seeing like a lot of progress. And now you can now change your view on like, oh, maybe I can actually go for this.
I went to a private high school, like back in Bay called Panda Secondary School, and then I got lucky in that year. In 2020, I was Tanzania 1, if you know that.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I got a scholarship. I went to attend First International School for my A levels, like year 2018. And then at school, we had a college counselor who was telling us like there's so many opportunities you can go and apply and get a lot of unis. So the preliminary information came from my college counselors, and then I started doing research to see what I like or what's out there.
How important have mentors been in your college application process?
I would say very important because after my school did not have a college counselor to guide us in our applications, because I would say US applications are different to other applications in other countries in a sense that they demand more attention and more preparation in terms of essays, in terms of exams. And so because I didn't have a mentor, I applied to TANSAF, which is a college access program. And TANSAF obviously has a college counselor. And I would say my mentor was very crucial in just like understanding which school I want to go to. Because you go to TANSAF, you present your case, like what are you interested in studying? What are your strengths and all that? What's your background? And then your mentor's job is to kind of pair you with the school that fits you the most. And for me, that was Colombia. And I would say without my mentor, probably would not have learned about Colombia, probably would not have known that Colombia was such a good fit for me.
I think developing that relationship is definitely important. I think that if you don't have that relationship with your guidance counselor, don't let it deter you.
Yeah.
You should still, I think, make an effort to like apply to as many as possible. I think it helps because it allows the guidance counselor to like get to know you more, so that when they write like things like recommendations, it's like more personal. Which can help. But I don't think that like if you don't have as strong a relationship with your guidance counselor, then you should be like deterred from like applying for scholarships, because like a lot of times they'll also ask.
Mentors are very important, especially like if you're from an area where like it's not like the culture of people to explore some opportunities. Like in Tanzania, in most schools, or like maybe 90% of the schools, because at least most schools are like that, you know, like everyone would kind of already have this path in their mind that they would graduate, go into the University of Dar es Salaam, or like if you want medicine, go to Muimbili, which is like a good you know, like a good hospital there in terms of like medicine. So like if now you kind of like want something different, then you kind of feel lost because you do not have like a good, like a channel of like people that you can connect to, or like you know, like just a community of people that are seeking the same. So if you become very lucky and get like a mentor, it's like a good opportunity for you to know about a lot of things that are not advertised. Like who I would say really helped me was like my fellow cohort members in TANSAF. I think because like you know, like sometimes it's like you're just like inspired by like your friends. You know, like for example, you know, and this is why I say like asking help is always good, right? So for example, my story, my counselor rejected like my idea for like I don't know how many times, but like he was like, no, you're just not writing something that is like meaningful. And then whenever I bring him another idea, it's like, oh, it's not about the language, you know, like it's not about how well you can write in English, or like, you know, because I see like, yes, you're trying your best to explain any, like whatever idea you come with, you try your best to like make it work. But then it's not like, it tells me it's like, I need to like really focus on what it is I'm sharing more than how I'm sharing it first. And you know, I now got it from my friends, and I was like, okay, I need to like relax and now like look at my cohort. So the thing that had made me not to ask for help to my cohort until that point, when I was kind of like really now I don't know what else to do, was like, because I'm, you know, like because I was an intern, I was like, I'm supposed to help you guys, you're not supposed to help me, you know. And I just think like that was not a good way to think about it. But then like, yeah, but then now I ask them, and then like you know, like just one of them like tries and like tells you about something, or like sometimes they just like want to talk to you about like your story, and then you share some things and like, oh, why don't you share that? Like that's very important. And like even the story that I ended up writing about, it's something that it was at the back of my mind, but I never thought like, oh, this will make like my personal statement, or like this would make a good essay.
I would say they played a pretty good role in terms of trying to give me the experience that previous applicants have had, because you might find that sometimes trying to contact people who are already in schools, I don't blame them. It gets very busy, so sometimes you don't have so much time to talk to them.
Yes.
But then you can get all that information and experience from the counselors. So I think that's one part that my mentors helped me with.
I think, like, if I'm to be honest, without mentors, without people who have had this experience in college application, I wouldn't have made it. Like,
Absolutely.
I think people who have already undergone through this college application process and have been successful have like an advantage of knowing what is needed in your application. And I think that's one of the huge significance that they have. Like, they know what to advise you. They know how to guide you to like to make your application perfect.
Successful.
Like, as in making sure your application gives what the admission officers want. I think that's one of the most main advantages in this college application. And it was one of the main things that really helped me. Like, and I think even right now, like, I'm done with this college application process. Just the fact that I was able to go through the entire process and see like what worked to some people, what worked to me, what didn't work. You see, so if someone comes to me and like asks for advice, I like have this advantage of telling him, okay, try doing this, because I already have that experience on what I think
it took for
the
you to be
admission officers
successful.
work. Yeah.
My closing remarks would be work hard at school and be on that, and be smart about it, and everything's gonna work out.
I like to view things as if somebody is better than you at something, then they know something you don't know. It's not like it's a natural trait, like they just are better at that thing. Or at least, like, for the most part, maybe the natural trait doesn't contribute that much. It's just a slight margin, Like, there are things that maybe, of course, the environment has contributed, but they do know something that you don't. So also, like, my friend right now is at Harvard junior year. His name is Isaiah. He's the one who has mentored me for most of my path. He was telling me like, oh, you could try this method, and he was sharing a link to me where I can learn about that method. And he's now telling me like things like other tricks, like maybe instead of doing all those 5 sets of passages and always just never reading the questions properly, maybe try just do 4 and understanding them clearly, and then the 5th one you could guess, like just guess. But if you get like 75, we even did like a calculation of like, if you get this much percent in the other ones, then even the 5th passage, if you get just 2, you're on a good score. So like those simple tricks,
yeah.
They were like, oh, so this is how you do it.
Jamani, Watanzania wenzangu na yote anayesikiliza kama ni Mtanzania or not, mimi na encourage sana kutokuwa intimidated by the college application process. Najua kwamba as first timers ina require vitu vingi, ina require essays, ina require tests, kwa kweli it's inachosha. Na hata ukiongea na admissions officers, I met with mine like 2 weeks ago and she was like, yes, it is very demanding, so I'm happy that you made it and you're here. Wanajua kwamba uko demanding, but the fact kwamba mtu uko determined kufanya that college application and to just finish it inaonyesha before they even read it, I think the first trait that you've shown kwamba umeweza kumaliza hicho kitu ni kwamba you are determined na kwamba you are resilient. Kuna watu wengine wanaweza wakafungua common app wakaona all the things ambayo ya demand wakasema no, not today.
Not for me.
Not for me. And that's the first thing that disqualifies you. Kwa mimi na encourage, anajua iko demanding. Some schools they demand less. That's Columbia, that's great. But some schools they demand more, kama MIT, kama Princeton. But kama ushajiambia kwamba hii ni shule ambayo naipenda, just set time aside, work on it, reach out to people, reach out to wanafunzi ambao wapo kwenye hivyo vyuo. Most of us tukishafika kwenye hivyo vyuo and we see all the opportunities ambazo ziko available for us. We are not selfish. We would love for other Tanzanians to also get the same opportunity. So I would say, don't be shy, be aggressive. That is how we got here, and I believe na nyie pia mtafika hapa.
You may have test scores, you may have good essays, you may have very good profile, but then things might not still work out. Well, like you may apply to a particular school and then it doesn't work out. You don't get accepted. You either get deferred, you either get waitlisted. You shouldn't, like, people shouldn't give up. You should continue applying to like other schools because life has to move on.
Yes.
Because and the reason why I think not giving up is like one of the important things that people should know. Like when things don't work out, I have friends here, like I have my American friends here, like in this program, in this gap year program. They're also telling me the experience regarding college application. Like this is not only to international students from low-income countries. No, I think this is to every student. Like some of my friends here, they're telling me they had applied to a bunch of schools, they got rejected. They didn't think Princeton would be the school they got in, but they just applied because they had no choice. Like they had to continue applying, and they got into Princeton. So if things don't work out, you need to, same as they didn't for me in my first gap year, you don't need to give up. You don't need to blame anyone. You need to see where, like, what went wrong, and yeah, you have to really see what went wrong. Because I think as soon as I knew my fate in the first gap year, I looked at my essays, I looked at my activities, and I compared them to like other successful applications, and I could clearly see like a pattern, like why my application wasn't so good, like, and that helped change my mindset on how I approached my application in the second gap year.
Apply, come to Yale. Come to Yale. Come to Yale, we need more.
Watanzania tupo.
Watanzania tupo.
Many gifts.
Ndio.
Matokea Kigamboni ndani.
Ndio.
And yeah, hii safari inaweza ikawa ngumu and everything.
Ndio.
Ila anaamini kwamba pia tumtangulize Mungu.
Ndio.
Kama kweli unaitaka hii kitu, like uwezekano upo.